Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction. Join our hosts as they speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Welcome, everybody, to the Friends in Recovery podcast with Jersey Ed. I'm your host, Jersey Ed, along with my two lovely co-hosts, Buckeye, Bambi, and Bedeviled Beth. Is that what it is today, Beth?
Yep, I'm bedeviled.
Bedeviled. What does bedeviled mean? Please, can you tell us what that means?
The bedevilments?
Yeah, what is the bedeviled? Somebody look up the whatchamacallit.
I'll look it up.
Means not to be a devil, not to be bad. I mean, that would be wrong.
The opposite of the promises.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. Something cause great and continual trouble too.
Whoa. Bedeviled Beth.
I am this week.
This week?
I've been in step 1 for 4 weeks and we just moved to step 2 yesterday. So
wow. Why step 1 for 4 weeks?
Well, because it was supposed to be 2 weeks, and then there were 3 of us going through the work together, and then one of us had to cancel. So we said, let's do it next week. And then I got strep throat, and so did one of the other people.
Oh, so you're not actually working 4 weeks on step 1.
Oh, no, but it's like a process, right? When you're in step 1, you're in step 1. And let me tell you something, without God, I am the most self-loathing, self-pitied human being on the face of the earth. I'm so grateful to be through it. I am ready for step 2.
Let's move on. God. Okay, guys. So it is Big Book Month here. I think it's the last Big Book month, the last show of the Big Book Month. Is that correct?
Last show
Good.
of Big
Thank God, because I'm not a big book guy. At all.
That's why we have Beth.
I'm not. Yeah, I know. I'm a 12.
You?
Hey, listen, I did a 12 and 12 all last year, the whole fucking year, Beth. Give me a little credit, just a little bit.
For Big Book? No, you just said you're on the 12 and 12 all year. It's not my fault you're misguided, my friend.
Oh, I'm misguided, believe me. Anyways, guys, it's Big Book Month here on Friends in Recovery Podcast, and we're going to talk about we're going to wrap up the Big Book month. We're going to ask a question, and we'll have that in a little bit, what the topic is going to be. But we also need interns, and I'm not going to go into the bathing suits and all that, but just somebody sent us an email and let us know that you guys are listening, and if you do want to become an intern, you don't have to fit into a bikini, but it helps. Just email us at help@friendsrecoverypodcast.com, and we will get you guys. We'll get you over to Bambi, and Bambi will do whatever she does with interns.
Yeah, I have so many.
I know. Anyways, so stay tuned for some amazing recovery. If you want to give us a call at a non-emergency hotline number, it's 800-989-6504. As I said before, the email is help@friendsrecoverypodcast.com. Email us individually underneath of all of our pictures. Carl put our things there. And our website is up and running, friendsandrecoverycommunity.org. Look for us all on social media, and don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, and knock that little bar over, right, Bambi? Is that what you do?
Turn the notification bell on.
Turn it on. And I am reading from a paper, so if you hear rustling, that's because I can't remember anything. What I do remember, ladies, is that Bambi gets so many fucking purple hearts that it just gets me sick. So should I even go over the hearts, what colors we are, or should we just bypass that?
I'm black.
Yes, you're black, blue, and we
Purple.
know what everybody knows what
color
Bambi is.
I know right now I'm winning, and then Ed's over here with the second place. He's got a blue heart over here.
Facebook does not count.
Oh my God.
Shit, Harris. What are you doing?
See, Harris loves me.
Oh put his angry face on that shit.
Oh my God. And hey guys, well, as we're going on with that, purple hearts are important, blue and black, but also donations are really important too. So I'd like to thank all the donors who keep this show alive, along with all of our meetings. You can find all of our meetings at friendsandrecoverycommunity.org. We must have 40 meetings a week now, Bambi? I don't know. How many meetings?
It feels like like 40 meetings a week.
Yeah, there's a lot of meetings, a minimum of at least 2 to 3 a day. So, we're in the 20s as far as all
Harris just gave you a shit ton of blue hearts.
There you go, Harris. Thanks.
I'm not friends with Harris anymore. Giving all mad faces. I'm angry.
All right, guys, here it is. Sober shout out time. Who has a sober shout out?
I have one.
Go ahead, Bambi.
Okay.
Buckeye Bambi. Should we call you Buckeye, or what do you want to be called?
Buckeye Bambi.
Just Buckeye Bambi? Or what,
yes,
can we call you Buck
Miss
for
Buckeye
short?
Bambi.
What's up, Buck? Okay, Bam. I'm just in one of those moods today. Sorry, guys.
Well, speaking of Harris, that reminded me, my sober shout out is to all the hosts and fill-in hosts for Friends in Recovery, because normally if there's an opening, if I can't fill it, I always just cover the meeting. But since I'm in the process of getting my house ready to put on the market, I haven't been able to. And do you know that I have had coverage for every meeting?
Wow.
That's awesome.
For 2 weeks. And I'll probably need it a little bit next week. But, and I mean, not just like some at the last minute, but I mean, great meetings. So if you guys have not checked out our meetings, they're really, really good meetings. And I just want to thank all the hosts that have picked up extra, all the fill-in hosts that have picked up extra. I can't tell them how much I love them. And Ed's picking up tonight for me. So, but Harris picked up 2 meetings this week for me.
Wow. All right, Harris. Good job.
And he rocked them. So,
all right. How about you, Beth? And yes, thank you everybody for filling in. And this is a wonderful community. I do want to, Beth, before I ask if you have anybody, I do want to, Bambi, thank you so much for running this community. I mean, I know I say it every week, but thank you so much for running this community, keeping this podcast going. Getting us guests, making sure every meeting is filled, making sure every meeting is running right, and all that stuff. And this would not exist without you. Maybe the podcast would, but I can tell you those meetings would not. And Matt too. You guys are a huge part of Friends in Recovery.
It's our community. So they keep me going. Honestly, yeah. I mean, it's our community. We have the best community, y'all. If you haven't joined our Facebook page, if you haven't checked out our meetings, you're missing out. So
absolutely, yeah. Please join us and send us an email if you want to figure out how to get on with us. So Beth, go ahead. Who is your sober shout out for today, if you have one?
No, my sober shout out is for Anne-Marie and Sandy.
Who?
Anne-Marie and Sandy.
Oh, I thought you said A-Line. What's up?
Yeah. So
what's up, A-Line?
Anne-Marie and Sandy are the ones that are going through this step process with me. And I would not be doing it if it weren't for them. And I'd still be sitting in all that self-pity and not even know it. So
okay.
Huge shout out.
Okay, good. Shout out to A-Line and Sandy.
I'll get it right in the show notes, Beth. Don't worry.
Thank you.
All right. And then, of course, I want to make a quick shout out to Soberpod. Of course, you guys need to listen to Soberpod. I was just walking today. I got 1.5 miles in, so the knee's healing. It's getting better. I'm going to be running soon. And I was listening to Soberpod, guys. If you're exercising or whatever, listen to Soberpod. It was actually a good reading. I forgot what the reading was today, but Carl stated on there that he used to obsessively masturbate. 100% hands down. That's what he did. I'm like, okay, that's part of the show, but you have to listen to it, guys. So figure it out which one it is. It's a good show. I listened to it this morning. Did wasn't
Carl
all
Zoom
about
on my morning meeting.
No, did he? Oh. No. I'll be nice. I could go off to the whole. All right, I'll be nice. No, he said he used to. So, along with eating ice cream, I should kind of preface this along with eating ice cream, along with all the stuff the addicts do in there. So, but also, guys, you need to buy Soberpod's book. Carl, maybe you can put a picture of it up here. If not, then Bambi will hold it up and show us. There it is. And we encourage all of our listeners to have that book, because what we're doing now, guys, a lot of us are using that book for our meetings. So if you don't have that book, that's fucked.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I have it.
You have it. Good. All right. So we need you guys to order that book and come on to our meetings. And this is a perfect segue to Bambi reading today's reading. Today's reading was really good.
It was. As soon as Bambi finds today's reading. All right, June 24th. If you can't do the little things, how in the fuck do you expect to do the big things? This is hard for us alcoholics and addicts to understand in sobriety. We think we know what we need to do. We are sure to have the answers. We want to rush headlong into solving what we think the problem is. You will hear things like, make your bed, or take the trash out after you do the dishes. And that stuff simply does not align with what we think we should do. The problem is that we are still thinking and not listening to what others have done who have successfully solved the problem. They made their beds, took out the trash, got jobs, worked the 12 steps, didn't drink or drug one day at a time. They didn't get sober and were suddenly struck wonderful by their fairy god sponsor. They did little things each day that amounted to big changes in the long haul. Our reflections. Are you still trying to eat elephants whole or one bite at a time? And the daily challenge. What are 2 things that you need to do right now?
Good reading, guys. And we had a great meeting on that this morning with Bambi. And I'm going to do that reading today on my meeting tonight. So if you guys listen to on Facebook, join us on the 7:00 meeting tonight, and that's what the meeting's gonna be about. So that reading and the rest of them you can get at Amazon and the link below.
Yep, so and they make it and they send it and it'll get to you in 2 days.
There you go.
Or from Soberpod. You can also buy it from the Soberpod
yeah,
website.
Soberpod website too. Yep. All right, guys. So that is all we're doing. Well, it's all we're doing for this now. Oh no, we have the question of the week, right, guys? Ready? Question
of the week.
Of the week.
We get worse each week.
I know. Question of the week, guys. There it is. Thanks, Carl. And the question of the week is, what is the main objective of the big book? Quick answer. No, that's not yeah. Is that the question?
Yes, that's the question.
Oh, that is the question.
Yeah, that's the question. Oh, yeah, we're good.
We had a long time off in between podcasts or something, apparently.
So, Beth, what is the main objective besides a cup holder or a...
No, only you use it as a paperweight.
As a paperweight, what is the main objective of the big book?
It has multiple uses, but the main objective is to obtain and maintain long-term recovery.
Okay. That's good.
Find God, really. I mean, we can just put the elephant on the table.
That is the main objective. Yes, it is just basically, it's for all of us, right? Just to whatever we get out of it. But there was an answer to that online somewhere, and I thought I had it. I was going to read it. But Bambi, what's your thoughts on the main objective of the big book?
I think it's a guide. It's our guide to staying sober. It's our motivation. I think it's just, that's what it is. It's like, it's like having your very own coach, self-help coach for AA. You can find so many answers in the big book. And, so many answers to your questions, and things. So it's a guidebook. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And as a guidebook, but Beth, didn't you say that it was a teaching tool way back when you would get mailed to you?
Yep. It was mail order sobriety.
Mail order sobriety. That's
an instruction manual textbook.
Yeah.
For people to get and stay sober. Yep.
Yeah. And so that's what it means to me. And it's just, my sponsor says, if the answer is not in the big book, Don't worry about it. And that's true. Yeah. I mean, if it pertains to AA.
Right. Regarding sobriety.
Alcoholism.
Yeah.
Right.
Alcoholism. Yeah, exactly. But we have other life problems. You know what I mean? Right. There's other life problems that we talk to our sponsors about, but he's that hard AA kind of Nazi kind of guy. So, and I love him. So, but, the big book to me is just, something I have on the shelf up there that collects dust. No, I'm not a big book fan. I'm really not. I just can't get into it. The 12 and 12, I can read that from cover to cover. The 12 and 12. I love the 12 and 12. I don't know why.
You don't do 4-column inventory.
Huh? No.
Certainly not.
What? Inventory? I used to do that at Home Depot when I worked there. I don't do fucking inventory anymore. Yes. No. I said I am not my sponsor. Okay. Not my sponsor. Okay. So
what you're saying then, Ed, is that you've been brought through the big book, but you are denying the people that you work with to go through the big book.
Hello, is this thing on? I can't hear you. Huh? Hello.
No. Yeah, because we go through it word for word.
No, I do not. Yes, I don't deny them, but it's just not me. If they need a sponsor with a big book, listen, I'll rip the 12 and 12 up and down your ass big time, inside and out. But
100%.
But in the big book, I don't know. It's just something I don't know. Just. Maybe, Beth, you can enlighten me one day. Maybe at the end of this podcast and at the end of this month, I'll be enlightened about the big book.
It'll just come upon you.
Let me ask you this. How true is it if I put the big book under my pillow at night and I sleep on it, it'll all come through and go into my brain?
No osmosis going on here, brother.
I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. The easier, softer way, right? Anyways, all right. So that's all. That's the question to our answer. That was, if you guys want to answer that on Facebook, the question is, what is the main objective of the big book? In your opinion, anyways, so, all right. So we're wrapping up our big book month, and Beth is our big book guru here. She is, hey, you told us a lot about the big book. You know the big book inside and out. And we had some pretty interesting people on the show this month, right, Bambi? Because Beth, blowing us off, Beth hasn't been here.
One show.
One show. It seemed like 30 shows she hasn't been here since. And we're gonna wrap it up, but we came up with a question, right, ladies, about maybe what how we can end this, because I think this is pretty good. And I'm going to have to kind of just listen to you ladies and then kind of make my own opinion of this, because again, it's an honest program. I'm not going to bullshit. So, so the question that we came up with to wrap this whole month up is, what's the most important section of the big book that in your opinion, what is the most important section of the big book? Now, to me, it's obvious, the first 64 pages, some people might say page 472 or 470, whatever it is.
417.
417, I say
used to be 447, but
that's
now
it. That's yeah. No, they changed it last week. So yeah, there you go. But so let's start the topic off with Beth. What is the most important section of the big book? When you get one of your sponsees, you tell them, break out the big book. Where do you go first?
Oh, we go to the preface and the forwards, but
okay.
I think for me personally, the one that keeps popping up is We Agnostics. I think for me, that's the one I have to continuously go back to and reevaluate.
Why?
Because being of a frail human mind, I have to put God in a box.
Okay.
I have to, because I'm human and God is omnipotent, and I grow out of that box.
Mm-hmm.
And then right. So I think we need to outline, but not define God. Mm-hmm. And I think as a frail human, I tend to define and put him in a box, and the box may be huge, but it's still a box. So for me, I have had to revisit my conception of God, my relationship to God, and I also believe that as humans, we are agnostic in one area of our life, at least at all times, sober or not. So for me, as I grow out of my current second step, and I need to go back and almost like just wipe, make the box bigger or redefine or figure out where am I currently agnostic in my relationship with God? Like, what am I keeping out of God's hands?
Okay.
Yeah. So
put him in a box, meaning you put him in a box, put him on a shelf and forget about God, or
no. Like put him in a box, like define what my understanding of God is.
Okay.
So like when I first got sober, my first higher power was this little butterfly that came to me while I was sitting outside my sponsor's house. And then after that, it became my grandfather who had passed away. And then after that, it became Jesus. And then after that, it became an inhuman, not human form. And after that, it just kept morphing into other things. And as of right now, like my conception of a higher power is that there's a God particle in every element and every atom in the universe. And so that's why we're all connected. That's how we're all connected. And so I've got this understanding, but like over the past year, I have become agnostic in certain areas of my life. And that's actually where I'm at in my step process right now is be taking the next 2 weeks to look at, where am I agnostic? What have I kept from God that he's supposed to be in control of and I'm supposed to be the agent of?
So what part of your life, if I mean, you don't have to reveal it now, if you don't have to reveal it all, but what part of your life do you think you're agnostic and keeping things from God?
My home.
Your home.
I know. Yeah, we just bought this house in October, and I'm pretty sure I've got it on lockdown that it's my house.
Okay.
So and I did this with when my dad died in 2005, unbeknownst to me, consciously, I got so upset with God that he would take this male figure from my life that I became agnostic in my marriage. And 5 years after my dad passed, my husband and I wound up getting separated because I took God out of my marriage and I choked the shit out of it because I was so afraid God would take it. And
this
then
is after your dad died, you said
5 years after my dad died, right? So for 5 years, I was in control of my marriage and wouldn't let God in because I was afraid he would take it. And then 5 years later, self-fulfilling prophecy, I choked the life out of my marriage and we separated. So, and we're back together now. We're happy. You know what I mean? But it's like when I feel fear that God might take something from me, my first reaction is to get God away from it so he can't have it.
Just to control it.
Yes.
Yeah,
which we all know is the best way to lose something.
Yeah, exactly. Stick your fingers in where it doesn't belong, right? I mean, that's typical addict behavior. And yeah, I like that. I mean, I don't see any part of my life. I have God in every part of my life, no matter what. I thank God. My prayer in the morning, most of the time, is thank you. Right? That is the most powerful prayer I can say without specifically saying, please bless this one, God, please. That's too controlling for me, right? That's too I'm going to tell you who to bless and who not to bless, right? And thank you for whatever you're going to give me today, whatever happened today, good or bad. Thank you for whatever it is. And that's, I, of course, always ask, a special blessing for my kids and my wife and my sobriety and all that, of course. But in my prayers, who am I to say that I'm going to ask God to bless this specific person, right? And that's kind of where we're, kind of what my thoughts are on as far as what you were just talking about. So I do let God in every part of my life. And when I do that, so when not bad shit, but when I'm thinking stupid thoughts, I ask God to come in, and I don't want God in that same room with those same thoughts. So either I don't let him in, and I ruminate on it. And then eventually he does come in because those thoughts go away and they don't turn into actions, thank God. Or I just let him in and he just clears the room in my head, the being my head. So yeah, I mean, I love that. But listen, that's me though, that's me. And I decided early on in my recovery about God that I am not going to fuck with him. Zero. I'm just not. Okay. That's one person, that I'm not going to mess with. And right from early recovery, I had no problems turning my will over to God. I just didn't. I mean, I know that sounds a little weird, but that was one of the things that I just got like that. Now, do I struggle sometimes? Yeah, of course I struggle, but God always wins in my book anyways, so, but I like your honesty, Beth. I like your honesty about I'm agnostic in some parts of and I bet you a lot of people can't admit that. Bambi, what's your thoughts on all this?
Well, I mean, I think that is great the way that Beth could realize that, and I guess I've never thought about it that way, so honestly, I'm going to do some thinking to see if God is in all parts of my life, because I've never thought about that. So, but for me, I think my, the part that is the most important, at least to me, now the nurse in me really loved the doctor's opinion. I needed to understand what was going on in my brain and my body and all that. But the most important part to me were the promises, because I needed something to cling on to. I mean, like desperately, I needed to believe that something was going to get better. If I take the time and I do this stupid ass program and I do everything the way that it's, my sponsor tells me to, and the way that it's written, if I do that, I needed to have something to believe in, and that something would change in my life. And so I clung to those promises, and I still do. I mean, if I'm feeling out of sorts or anything, I'll read the promises, and I'll know that if I'm frustrated, if I go back and I evaluate myself and I evaluate my program and I see where I might be lacking, that's probably why I'm struggling, So for me, it's the promises.
Now, let me ask you, Bambi, have all the promises come true in your life?
A lot have.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I can say that, more than I ever dreamed possible has come true at this point. I mean, to know a new freedom and a new happiness, to have serenity, those were so far out of, I never thought I would have that. And to wake up and not have that struggle, to just immediately with shaking hands to reach for the glass. I never thought that I could wake up and feel totally at peace with myself, totally serene, and not have to do that. I mean, yeah, the promises definitely, come true, and they keep coming true for me. I mean, just look at this house, and I think about when I was so bitchy that I could not move to Florida when I wanted to, right? I'm trying to control my life. I'm trying to say, I have to go now, to the point that I was telling my husband, I'm going to leave and go by myself. I'll go and you can come whenever you're ready, And then my brother got real sick and I was right here. And, I realized right then that that's God doing for me what I could not do for myself.
Yes, ma'am.
And now that my brother has passed, and not that I'm done grieving, but now that I've had some time to process things, everything is falling in line for this house to sell and for us to be in Florida. It's like, damn, if that's not the promises coming true, and if that's God not saying, listen, you let me be in control, I got it much better than you do.
Absolutely. God gives us what we need, not what we want, right?
Yeah.
I hear that from my sponsor all the time. And it sucks, but you know what? It's true though. I was, Rob was on our meeting this morning and he said he got Employee of the Month. Congratulations, Rob. He deserves it 100%. He deserves it. So he's a great guy. But you know what? When that whole company was selling and, I was a big part of it, I used to think, all right, they're going to get me a contract. I'm going to be there. They're going to give me a contract. I'm going to get this big money when they sell because I've been there for a long time and I'm going to be, contracted in, blah, blah, blah. And when it didn't happen, I was angry at everybody, including God. Like, why, I was there this long time, blah, blah, blah. And I moved on to another job. And I thank God every day. I really do. In that thank you prayer, that I never got a contract with them because I was so miserable. I was so stuck that I couldn't see past, whatever, to be in a better place today, and that's the promises, and that's also God doing for me what I could not do for myself. This is what I wanted, how I want it, when I want it, and where I want it. Well, that's probably not good because my thinking got me this far. Right. And then when I turn it over and the promises start coming true, it just life happens. So Beth, we the agnostic, Bambi, the promises, me, of course, it's what we read the preamble at every meeting. Rarely have we seen what's that, chapter 3? I don't even know what that is. I don't even know the big book inside and out. How it works. Yeah, how it works. So for me, how it works is just very simple, very easy. I'm that guy, right? Don't fluff it up. Just tell me how it works. What steps do I? That's why I like the steps, because there's an order, right? Because I can follow each thing in order. I'm very kind of structured that way. That's why I love the steps. The big book to me is great. There's a lot of information over, but for me, the 12 and 12, the 12 and 12 book is instructions. It tells me exactly what to do. It tells me about step 1 in detail. And if I don't know it, I'm going to take that book and ask my sponsor, what the hell does this shit mean? Right. So that's the kind of book person I am. And that's why I like the 12 and 12. I know the steps are in the big book, but they're intertwined with everything else. And for me, it's a little tough to understand all that. So that's me, how it works. Tell me exactly how it works. That's why I like that chapter, because rarely have we seen a person fail who thoroughly follows our path. So you're telling me if I do exactly what you guys do, I'll stay sober? Yes. Got it. I can do that. Hands down, I can do that. But who's going to help me with this? Oh, you got to get a sponsor. Got it. I can get a sponsor. And what's that sponsor going to do? He's going to take these 12 and 12 steps, and he's going to tell you exactly how he did it. Oh, really? I can do that. So that's the type of person that I am as far as that goes. And just life, I mean, people are all different, but I like you guys, Bambi, I know I always say this on the show, Beth, you and I always say this, but Bambi has like a little over a year. It's like she's been in this program for 100 years. A year and a half. Sorry. So sorry. Strike that from the book, Carl. but we all grow at different lengths, different times, different parts of the program, different things in what we do as far as how we grow. And that's the part that we always thank God for, it, because the people that are attracted to me or want what I have are put in my life for a reason. Like you, Beth, you're putting my life for a reason. I'm like, when Bambi said big book month, I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? I don't know shit about the big book, but back in September when you and I had lunch, there was a reason why you fucking came on to this show.
Yep.
I mean, that's one of the reasons, but I'm this believer in things happen for a reason.
100%.
Exactly for a reason, exactly for a reason. And the same thing with I was just saying, I didn't get that contract. Happened for a reason. I would have been the most miserable fucking person in the world. I can tell you, hands down, I would have been. No doubt about it. Not that it's a bad company that I used to work for. It just wasn't my thing at that time. And I needed to grow. And that's what happens. And that's what recovery teaches us, guys, is that we grow, right? The big book, correct me if I'm wrong, is about growth, spiritual growth, mostly. Yep. Correct, right?
Yep.
Spiritual growth, how we can grow spiritually to become a better human being. That book, I keep pointing up there because it's right there. That book, it's really not a paperweight, I swear. That book is a book that, like you said, it's mail order sobriety, right? Mail order sobriety. So anyway, so that's my thoughts on that. So we the agnostic, the promises. What's page 417? Talk to me about that, ladies.
Acceptance.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know jack shit about. I know acceptance, what it means.
All my problems today, right?
Yep. It's about oh God, it's not one of my favorites. So I very rarely.
Things and situations, when people, places, things, or situations are not to your liking, if you're having trouble with anything, then you have to learn to accept that person, place, or thing for exactly what it is and exactly what your part in it is. So you have to be able to say, I can't control it. I can't control another human being. I can only control the way that I react to that person, place, thing, or situation. And acceptance is the key to all my problems today.
And that is so true. I mean, the acceptance of anything The acceptance
unacceptable.
Yeah. The
Unacceptable
acceptance.
to me.
Unacceptable to you?
Well, here's what it says.
People, places, or things are unacceptable to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I'm disturbed, it is because some person, place, or situation, some phase in my life, unacceptable to me, and I can find no serenity until I accept that person, place, or thing or situation to be exactly the way it is supposed to be at this moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake, which is my sponsor's favorite quote from the book. And until I could accept my alcoholism, I could not stay sober. Unless I accept life completely on life's terms, I cannot be happy. I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in the world, but what needs to be changed in me and my attitudes.
I love it. I love page 417. My sponsor has me read it a lot.
Yeah.
Because usually, when I call her and I'm upset about something, the first thing she says is, have you read page 417? And what is your part in this? Basically.
Wow.
It really is like, if you think about it, that passage that I just read is the perfect thing to read when you're in step 10, in that moment, right? So step 10 is like, we're supposed to be, it's an in the moment step, right? When I we continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, we promptly admitted it, puts us into the present moment. So when I'm in the bank and a lady says something that disturbs me, I'm immediately precipitated into step 10. How am I going to deal with this moment? Right. So step 10 says the first thing we're supposed to do is ask God to get involved. The second thing we're supposed to do is, I forget, but it's like, if you can't figure out how to deal with this, then work with God, you're supposed to reach out to a person. But the reality is that the reason I've been like yeeted into this moment is because of 417. I find some place or thing unacceptable.
Yeah. Life on life's terms. Read that about life on life's terms again. Because that is so true.
Yeah. So, unacceptable to me, and I find no serenity, person, place, or thing exactly the way it's supposed to be at this moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake. Until I could accept my alcoholism, I could not stay sober. Until I accept life completely on life's terms, I cannot be happy.
I like where it says nothing, absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it says earlier in the book that you have to choose, right? So when we're in step 2, you have to choose either God is everything or God is nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
No.
God either is or he is not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have, right, and everybody who's listening to this, reach back into your core and ask yourself, has there been a moment in my life when I was absolutely sure that was a God thing? Because then God is everything.
Yeah. Well, but the other thing too, and I don't want to leave out the people who don't have a higher power, who maybe don't believe in God right now also, because that pertains to somebody who's believing in God.
Power, though.
You have to have a higher power.
God of their understanding, but they have to have a higher power.
But people get freaked out about God, the G word.
God of your understanding.
God of your understanding.
Yeah.
And listen, I hate saying this because I don't want to ever have anybody walk away from AA, but the entire big book, the entire process of the 12 steps is based on a relationship with a power greater than yourself.
Of course it is.
We use the word God and we use the word God lightly, not in definition, but in people's perception of that word. But it's a power greater than yourself, whether it's a group of drunks, right? The rooms of alcoholics,
doorknob, a cup,
I don't
whatever.
care what your power greater than yourself is. If you can't admit that you are not the most powerful being in the universe, then you cannot work a 12-step program.
No. And I agree with that 100%. And Beth and Bambi, you've been in this, you're not in the field, but you've heard numerous people say this. I don't believe in God. It's all about God. AA is all about God. It's just an excuse. To me, it's an excuse. Like, I think I think there's only God in the first First step, right? Is that the only time they mention God in all the steps? Is the first
short
step?
form of the way it's written?
Yeah. I think it's only
admitted to God, to ourselves, and other human being the exact nature of our wrongs.
Had God turned our will and our life over to God.
So the first God as we understood him.
The first 3 steps, right? No. Anyways, but here's the thing, right? My thoughts
is all about
that's true. Yeah. Well, higher power, right? Isn't it the higher power?
But that's what we're talking about. You listen, if somebody is shy on the word God, get a sponsor.
I agree.
Get a freaking sponsor and understand, right? Get a definition for what God means in AA, because it says it multiple times in the first 164 pages that this is not the God of your childhood.
No.
This is not the God that somebody else put a definition on.
Yeah. But when you're just coming around, you're just getting sober and you're mad at the world. I mean, come on. I mean, it's a tough thing. Again, right when I walked into the program, I was blessed because I said, this is it. God is my higher power. I am done. I'm not even messing around with that. I don't need any more stumbling blocks.
Catholic.
Yeah. Well, yes, absolutely. Yes. But also I know a lot of Catholics that had just turned God away. Yeah. Right. I mean, I know Bob is pretty open about it. Bob, Bob's on here. He said the first, second paragraph of page 151, it was his go-to as far as that goes. But I know Bob calls himself a recovering Catholic. And I'm not saying anything he wouldn't say, Which
is fine. But it's like, listen, when we start playing around with hiding what the 12 steps are truly based towards, then people can't work the program. And then we wonder why they can't stay sober, right? So my opinion is that we hit the God subject first. Right? First, out of the gate, we're going to talk about God. We're going to talk so much about God that you better figure out a relationship with a power greater than yourself, or don't even try to do this.
Well, don't you think we should meet them where they're at and not throw God down their throat? Because
but that's not the definition of meeting them where they're at. Meeting them where they're at means understanding that they have a problem with their definition of God and helping them get out of it.
Okay.
That's meeting somebody where they're at.
I agree with you.
I was that person, Ed. I didn't believe in, I really was so angry with God. I didn't want to have anything to do with the God that I knew before.
Okay.
But what my sponsor pointed out to me, that step 12 says, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps.
As the result.
Right. Yeah.
As the result of these steps. So it's like, let's get through the steps and you're going to find you're going to have your spiritual awakening. So you don't have to, it's not like a white lightning moment necessarily that, oh my God, I joined AA and now I'm going to have this wonderful relationship with God. It's you work these steps and you develop that spiritual awakening. It comes as working the steps. So you don't have to focus on that immediately. You just have to work the steps. And your relationship is going to grow with the God of your understanding as you do the steps to get to step 12.
It also says in the book that you don't even have to believe in God. You can believe that I believe in God. And that is enough to start this process.
Right. Exactly.
Well, and yes, absolutely. But here's the thing. And I think this would help a lot of people. What you just said, God is not the God of our childhood. Beth, you said that. I think that is profound, number one, because to me, every year or every moment, God changes. And not, it doesn't change, God changes in my mind anyways. And I'm
Your
sure
box.
that for a lot.
Your box
my
changes.
box. Yeah, absolutely. But the God of my childhood, he's kind of the same, because that's the reference I had. See, now I didn't have a bad childhood, but some people were molested by priests. Some people had a bad outcome with the Catholic Church. And I'm not just talking about that's all I know is the Catholic Church. But there's other religions where women get sexually molested. Yeah, exactly. A lot of these people think they have power because they're this figure of the church and they can do whatever the fuck they want and they can't. So that's where I think I love this, Beth. I wrote this down. I'm going to use this. God is not the God of the God today is not the God of my childhood, and I think that would help a lot of people. I hope that clears a lot up for a lot of people. And that God could be just a higher power. That God could be this soda can. It could be this pen for now, right? For now. And I think, let me ask you ladies this. Do you think anybody that works a program the way we do, the way, you know, all of us probably on Facebook and listening to this, do you think eventually they come around to a God and not a coffee cup or a, I don't know, or maybe a spirit or a universe, right? Do they come around to that eventually, do you think? That you've seen, Beth?
My experience? Okay, so my opinion is I don't care.
Okay.
My opinion is I don't care,
Okay.
but my experience has been every single person that I have brought through the work has gained a different relationship and a different conception of what God is in their life.
Okay. So that being a universe, a spirit,
whatever.
The wind. I mean, there's some Native Americans that believe in, the wind and the mountains, as their God, and that is their God. That's their God. So what would you say to that if you had somebody so are you okay with all different gods?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Like your conception of God isn't keeping me sober.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's keeping you sober, I'm on board.
Yeah.
And listen, I literally, so when I was, I forget where, it was like 20 years ago, Jesus Christ, 25 years ago. There was a thing going around in AA where it's like, doorknob can't be your higher power. Like, you know what I mean? Like some old timers getting all red in the face.
Yeah.
And I went into this whole rabbit hole with it. And I'm like, what if you see a doorknob as opening the next chapter of your life?
Mm-hmm.
What if you feel that, the only way that I can connect physically with my God is every time I go in a door, I remember to connect in with my God. Like that makes a doorknob a really valid fucking higher power.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, you know what I mean? Like I really cannot. I'm so I'm so Gen X and I'm so anti-establishment that I really truly believe that religion is and for a lot of people, religion's a great thing, but religion has the ability to shut the relationship with their God off because it's right. So my opinion is that religion is how we maintain, or it should be, in my opinion. Religion is how we maintain a relationship with our God. Mm-hmm. But for so many people that are out of the spiritual world and only in the physical, they think that the act of going to a church and hitting their knees or going to temple and and doing an aliyah, or, you know what I mean? Like, or being Muslim and putting your mat down and praying, I think East.
Mm-hmm.
East,
yes. Yeah, I think it is.
That the act of doing that is enough.
Mm-hmm.
When I think in my opinion, those acts are supposed to pause us long enough to connect in
to whatever that higher power is. But let's not forget, guys, that we're talking a lot about religion, a lot about God here, but AA is not a religious program. No. It doesn't pretend to be. It never was. It's a spiritual program to get us on a spiritual plane so we can find wherever that higher power, wherever we want to go to. You know what I mean? It gets us back in. Spirituality is fucking living. Spirituality is breathing and being part of the society of this world. That's what spirituality is. That's
why I always include Muslim. When I talk about religion, I do Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's not a religious program. And that's where some people get stuck because they see God. Just because you see God on something doesn't mean it's a religious program. Shit, fuck, take a dollar bill, flip it over. In God we trust. Our fucking government is not a fucking church at all. Let's be serious, Well, some people praise it like it is, but that's a show for another day.
I'm in that show now.
She should have been on here when Cuddy was on here because they got same views of everything. So you would love Chris. You missed him on that show. We'll get you introduced to him. But no, I mean, just because it has God on it, just because it has, some higher power stuff and things that, it's a spiritual program, guys. AA is a spiritual program. And the big book is just a guideline to get you, like I said, get you on a spiritual plane. That is all it is. It's not, they don't use it in any church that I've been in. Nobody ever opened the book and said, turn to page 417 and we're going to talk about acceptance. Hallelujah today. Awesome. It would be really cool. So, but they don't do that. Now is the big book kind of mirrored, or I don't even say mirrored, but kind of has some Bible tones into it? Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? I do. Well, I didn't read the whole thing, so I'm just making that shit up right now. So no, but I mean, there's a lot
I will tell you that it does, now that I'm thinking about it. Going back to the question, what is the purpose of the big book? Mm-hmm. Sorry, my mint is like really tart.
Are they Friends in Recovery mint?
The entire purpose of the big book, right, is to help you get and maintain a relationship with God, because the entire 12-step premise is the only thing that has ever, will ever stand between you and a drink is a higher power. That is the entire premise of a 12-step program. Everything that we do is guiding us towards a relationship with our higher power. That is the entire, like, that's why we do everything that we do in the instruction manual, is to build and strengthen a relationship with a power greater than ourselves. Because I mean, we say it and you love, your favorite part of the big book is how it works. It says in how it works that we're beyond human aid. Oh yeah. So if you're beyond human aid, only a higher power can relieve you of your addiction. Yeah, exactly. So, not even a church, not a church is a building, a priest is a human. But here's the thing. But here's the thing, Beth, and I like what you said. Only God can relieve you of a drink. Only God can stop you from drinking. So I don't, and this is perfect example of why it's not a religion, or how it's not a religion. Because first of all, you don't have to wait to pray to God. You don't have to wait till the doors open of a church. You don't even have to wait till a fucking AA meeting opens up. You can just pray and ask God to take this obsession away from you. Right. And that is not a church. That is not a religion. That in some cases is a fucking desperate cry for help in some people's cases. Which is what this program was made for. Absolutely. This program was not built to argue with. No. You can either do what it says or you don't have to. No, and you don't have to. I mean, Ed, you remember when we got sober? If you didn't like what was going on, you were told to leave. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Doors always open. Oh, yeah. Don't mention cocaine in a meeting back or way back when. Right. But it's like, this is what we're doing. And if you haven't had enough to accept this plan, then go do some more research. Go back out. Absolutely. Go back out. And we shy away from saying that now. I'm shy. The big book tells you to do that. Yeah. Big book says, if you know, go try some controlled drinking. Exactly. Go try it. And then come back. Try to put it down for 30 days and leave it alone for 30 days. Go go step over to a bar stool and just try to have a beer. It tells us this stuff. If you don't want to do what we're doing, you don't like the God thing, you don't think that this mode of recovery is for you. It's 2023. There are 500 other modes of recovery that are completely valid and work. But we have shied away from telling people to go back out, because the reality is that there's so many other substances out there that kill one drink or the equivalent of one drink, you're dead. Yeah. And I agree with that too. It's been a long time. That scares the shit out of me. It's definitely a different world. And you're right. If you don't like AA, so 3 of us on here, just to make everything clear, guys, obviously we are AA people. That's what we do. That's what we breathe. That's what we live. But just because we're talking about AA, plug in Dharma, plug in Smart Recovery, plug in whatever the fuck you want to plug in and get fucking sober. That's it. Whatever you believe in. I don't care if you don't believe in God, and whatever it is, try to plug it in and stay sober. It's better than the alternative. It's better than walking out that door and saying, I'm going to try this again. And I do not suggest that, because it doesn't fucking work. Doesn't work. That's why I work in the treatment field. Yeah. It's because, like, listen, you don't want to accept God. I have 200 facilities in my network. Do you know what I mean? Like there are facilities that don't even look at the 12-step program, that they look at smart recovery. Listen, smart recovery is a CBT based support group that you get certified to run a group. And it's like under the guise of self-help. Not that I believe in self-help, but like CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. Like it's talk therapy. So you have an entire mode of recovery that's not even step-based. It's just therapy-based.
Well, let's even take it a step further. Microdosing. There's these places that do, I forgot what they call it, but they use hallucinogens.
That's for major depressive disorder.
So that's they're finding it for people with relapse also now.
Wow.
Huge. It's huge in the relapse field now. Huge. I mean, it's not my cup of tea, but same thing with the Suboxone. If that's going to keep you sober, whatever it is, if that's what you need, go do it. If that's
what you need. And
not my cup of tea, but
right. But it's interesting. It's like, we've been forced. Our hand has been forced by opiates. Our hand has been forced to redefine what recovery means.
Yeah.
Right. We need to put that same train of thought into what we think God is, or taking the label God and redefining it the way that we need to in order to maintain the path. Right. Like, listen, if you're taking prescribed, let's say 20 milligrams of Suboxone a day, which by the way, you're getting high off of, I don't care how long you've been taking it.
Yeah.
You're taking 20 milligrams of Suboxone a day, but it's keeping you from drinking and doing heroin and doing all the other things
dying.
That you're doing. And you want to consider that recovery? I'm on board.
Yeah. I agree.
Am fucking on board.
Yeah.
Because you're not dying, and it's going to give you the space and grace to figure out, is that the life you want to live, or do you want to shoot for something different?
Yeah. But I think recovery and step one, our life has become unmanageable, right? So if you're doing something and your life isn't unmanageable, if it's some maintenance, I guess it's okay. I mean, who am I to say? I don't know. I mean, I had a family member come at me and be like, he's not in recovery. He sits in his mom's basement and like eats pizza all day. That's not recovery. I said, that's not recovery for you. I said, but he's not shooting 20 bags of heroin up in his arm and like literally playing Russian roulette 24 hours a day. And plus he's probably not 25 years in deep into recovery. Right. Hopefully it would look different, and that's the other thing, people, and we'll start winding this down, but we also have to look, where are you in your recovery? Now, Bambi is that kind of that unicorn, because she's, she can stick up there with us. She has the horn. There you go. But you have to also see where people are in their recovery, right? Like if you're out just 90 days out of treatment, or 90 days, you're doing your 90 and 90, you can't compare that person to somebody who has 30 years. You can't. We just can't. I mean, they're in the same program doing the same things, but you can't compare that person, because life has beat that person up. Life has, pushed that person around, and now they're okay they're 90 days into it, and their head's all messed up. That other person has 25 years to get pushed around, but we have the tools now. We all get the tools, but that person who's much deeper into recovery has the wherewithal how to use those tools now. 90 days? I couldn't even freaking spell my name at 90 days. Holy shit, dude.
I still can't spell my name.
God. Yeah, well, that too. And my name's Ed, E-D. So, well, hey, didn't I spell Jersey Ed wrong today, right? There you go. See, I can't spell my fucking name, ladies. So
I honestly, I got to tell you, I don't think that, I think that Bambi's a unicorn. I love Bambi. But Bambi is not a unicorn in the 12-step model.
No.
Bambi got sober and worked the program. And this is what somebody with a year and a half should look like.
How it works.
She is a 20-something-year-old who is living the path that she chooses to live. Yeah. Because she's worked the steps. It shouldn't, you know what I mean? Like if you get in and do the work, you get a year sober, you get 6 months sober, and you're doing the deal, then you're just doing the deal.
Absolutely.
I did not do the deal till I was 6.5 years sober.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yep. Well, so I looked like Bambi does now when I had 7.5, 8 years sober, because that's when I started working the program, and I pulled my head out of my ass. So, I encourage anybody listening to this, you don't have to wait.
No. Not at all.
You don't have to know what's going on in order to get better. Like, just fucking do what you're told.
Yeah, 90 days. 90 days, just get in there. Fake it till you make it. Get like-minded people, right? Get around those people like Bambi. Jump into a pool with Bambi, right? And you'll see what you get. Exactly. Well, I'll end with this and then we'll close. But like how it works is rarely have we seen a person who thoroughly follows our path. And that's what Bambi did. That's what each one of us did. That's what we're doing today, right? That's what we're doing today.
It says, we beg of you to be fearless from the very start.
From the very start, yeah. But it just depends on where your start is. Beth's start was 6.5 years into it. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just how fast you want to grow. Bambi chose, I'm going to grow this quickly. Same thing with me with my God of my understanding. I chose that God of my understanding. I got that away and that's it. It just depends on where you want to be and how you want to be and all that. So ladies, it's a great show. I think we wrapped up the big book pretty good. Big book month, pretty good as far as all that goes. I know we talked a lot about God and a lot about different things. I know there's some people that don't agree with us, but that's okay. And there's going to be more people that do agree with us. The main thing is you take what you need from what you heard today and leave the rest for fucking other people. Okay. Don't get into this like, oh, that's not right. That's not wrong. Whatever it is, just listen what's here for you. And if you get through this show and you click it off and there's nothing here from you, oh, well, that's okay too. Move on to something else. Maybe there wasn't our day for you guys. So, Beth, thanks for being back on the show. I know we've missed you the last 30 weeks.
Last week. Big hints, Beth, that you were missing.
No, we just had a long space in between shows, and it seems like we haven't seen Beth, but we
have a show in 2 days.
On Monday afternoon.
Monday afternoon, guys. Stay tuned on Facebook.
If you want to know more about CBT and DBT for recovery, our guest specializes in that.
Oh, okay. So listen.
Yeah.
Listen to the show. I don't know who it is because I don't really pay attention to this show. So I only show up and say, what's the topic? Okay. And let's talk about it.
I got it covered.
Bambi prepares everything. Yeah, exactly. So, all right, ladies, that is it for me. I am off to the sea. I'm jumping on my boat with my beautiful wife and lovely friends. And I am out of here. So remember, stay sober, everybody.
This concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates, and enjoy free access to twice daily support meetings. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.